buildings, number one Praya Lane, that is built on stilts. So now is to identify when was this building kind of built or took shape. Obviously, this is all maybe additional or new lah. I don't know what it was, whether it was semi-concrete or it was wooden.
Along Praya Lane.
Yep.
Starting from one Praya Lane, just go all the way in and see is there the original plan of the development for this area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now for the original or the start of St. Francis Institution, according to the article we recently found out that this was actually the site of St. Mary's School, and Ice Cafe was the site of St. John the Baptist Church, the Portuguese missions. And I remember the wife informed, I think the time was Joseph, to come and try and clear. So I think Joseph called me. So we came and tried and salvage what we could. I remember I salvaged the second and third volume. I think I've got quite a number of copies. But the first volume was, actually the crate was totally destroyed. So I think we managed to just secure.
It's the Portuguese mission in Malaysia and Singapore book, right?
Singapore, yes. 1958. That was the book.
I think, Martin, so, I mean, basically now that we know this was a job to conceal the termites, the idea is to remove all the plywood. Because when you remove the plywood, you actually see the damage behind this,
Yes.
Like they conceal, right?
Yes.
Then you need to make an assessment. Because if this main supporting beam, the most outward one, looks to be infected by termites, not so much the inner ones.
Yes.
So this one, from a structural point of view, because this is holding the main truss,
Correct.
So they got to see whether this one needs to be done or not.
Actually,
now you're going to have people sitting inside,
Yep.
So you don't want to compromise on the structural strength. You must make sure that any weak points is rectified to bring back that structural strength. Apart from that, it's all cosmetics, just tidying up, bit of cosmetics.
Okay, luckily also, pre-war means this building has been here before the Japanese War. At least the main frames, obviously not this. You see this, I think this was some pattern of that time. I think when Bernard came here, I'm not sure when. So this was actually one maybe of that trending, maybe should I say architecture or something like where have this kind of they call it the Kawin wood.
Buildings where they try and restore, and then the later people with better technology, better instrumentation, they will study the building properly, and then they have to undo all the poor restoration work, and then they have to redo the proper restoration based on the art and science of today. So this obviously was not a restoration work. This was more concealment. But now, if you're interested in restoring the building because of its historical value, you have to remove all the shoddy work done in the past, with all due respect to why they did. Maybe it was a cost issue. But then try to restore the building with. Usually in restoration, you try to replace. If you're going to replace anything, for example, if you're taking out a piece of wood, you try to find the same wood and replace with the same wood. You say cengal for cengal, meranti for meranti, merbau for merbau. That's what restorers try to do. You try to put the same thing inside.
Yes.
And then hopefully you try and find actually old wood. Say old cengal, you get from somewhere else, another old building, and then you put. So that's proper restoration. But in this case, if the building is intended to be put back in order for use, it's you want to keep it healthy. The building is healthy. It is not going to be a major restoration project. It's going to be trying to remove the poor work done before and try to just put back in order the building,
So what is your advice? I mean, we want, and then at least it's safe for dwelling. I think that's number one. Because obviously this is one of the most unique buildings in Praya Lane. The only building that's built on stilts, and this will be our cultural center where our activities will be here for the short term. The medium term is to make it a resource center, come library. And the long term is actually, hopefully, we can maybe work together with the children of Bernard, Natasha and Don John, to make it a Bernard Santa Maria memorial for the long term. So it can act as a library, a resource center, and as well as to at least keep that memory of Bernard at least still alive. Because I think that he is someone that I think we should focus on, because his work for the community is actually long lasting. I'm here is because I work with him, so I knew his vision. So why not carry on that vision while we're still alive, and hopefully we can transmit that to the younger generation. So now my aim is actually to find continuity, more about the community. So I want to try and get him more involved. So I see potential in this kind of young people. Okay, so but he lives in Klang, so I want to get them involved directly, and hopefully I can also spot some young ones within the community proper, and slowly see if I can speak to them to try and see how to get them more deeply involved in that continuity thing.
Side of the zone of the Melaka Heritage City.
Yes.
It is falling outside, no?
Yes. So
Because if it is inside, there are actually rules and regulations as to what you can and cannot do with heritage buildings.
Yep.
So if it falls outside, so that's just the first. That's just matter of fact, right? The second thing then is, if you intend to get this building recognized as a heritage building, there are certain conditions. It has to meet so many years of age and so forth, you know. But if it doesn't meet the criteria to be gazetted in Melaka as a heritage building, then it will not be a legally gazetted heritage building. It's just an old building that you want to repurpose for your use. Then you don't have to follow any heritage regulations about what you can or cannot do, you know. Because a lot of heritage laws will tell you what you can and cannot do with old buildings.
Yes.
So you probably fall out of that category. You are not bound to comply by any heritage regulations on refurbishing the structures. So it is now a matter of choice, I suppose, how much you want to retain its original, how much you want to refurbish without destroying the original look and feel, so that maybe in some point in the future, the building will soon get older. Let's say in the next 30, 50 years, right? It may fall within the time frame. A building should be more than 100 years old, for example, whatever it is, you know. And I suppose the other thing is, whatever we do, I think, we must be careful not to do the wrong thing, so that somebody down the road will say, oh, look at those people in the year 2023, this is what they did the wrong thing. Just as we are pointing at the plywood today, we hope no one will look future and say, oh, this heritage building, but they made a mess of it, you know. They put epoxy, they put all the wrong things inside. Then you get criticized years later that you did the wrong thing. So heritage architect, an architect familiar with heritage buildings in Melaka, and there are actually quite a few of them, they can be the people that can provide the advice.
Definitely.
Like, for example, the National University of Singapore, they've got these architectural students in the building in the Yale Maternity Home.
Yes.
So these are National University of Singapore students who specialize in studying the architecture of the past and how to retain and so on and so forth. So that will be a good place to make contact with them and say, I've got this building, number 1 Praya Lane. You are architectural
NUS
students.
will be one of the best.
Because they took lease of that building. These architectural students, you know, studying the architecture of Melaka across the river, the other side. Yeah, not the clock tower side, the other side, you know, the Tankera side. So they will probably come and assess and say, we think this is what we can do. We think this is what you shouldn't do. This is what you should do. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So, I mean, that's good news for me, because in fact I have contact with NUS. I've got, professor with engagement in the city. So I think what I will do, I'll follow up on what you just said and try to make inroads or contact with NUS architectural department. I have also another professor, Professor Nikhil, but he's more into lime conservation, kind of the right way to do conservation with buildings that is of lime, with lime. So this maybe I can also try to see how, because the earlier so I had a group of architectural students more into maybe arts and not directly architectural, but they were quite keen about the buildings in Praya Lane. So maybe I'll have to follow up on that angle, the NUS students. Thank you very much.
Incumbent on the owner to make a decision of some sort.
Yes.
Because if you're going to invest to put the building, of course, making the building safe to be occupied is the first priority, but trying to do it correctly so that it doesn't destroy any heritage value that the building may have.
Yes.
And that will lead to the third thing, which is how much actually do you want to invest monetarily to put it back in order, because restoring an old building, I mean, this is an old building. Restoring an old building is not necessarily cheap. Calling a contractor to simply put it right is cheap. To simply fix the gutter is very cheap.
Yeah,
cosmetic. But to do
it
beyond cosmetics, to ensure that we don't destroy any heritage part of it, will require an heritage architect to come and have a look. But I think, Martin, we know that the grounds of this building also is historical, especially moving on to the Saturday Ice Cafe, because of the origins of the St. Francis School, the St. Mary's Church, the chapel, and so on and so forth. So at some point, maybe part of the planning is to do ground penetrating radar survey in the periphery, because with the GPR, we can actually go beyond the surface and see are there any walls that are still remaining behind from the old chapels or churches, So we can easily get the right people to do a GPR, along and then see if there's anything. And then once you find something, and again we can figure these things out. But once you find something, it obviously starts to get very interesting because Jabatan Warisan Negara has to get involved, right? Because there's a Heritage Act 2005. And these buildings are obviously they come from Portuguese occupation time, so they are obviously of heritage of interest. Just like when they dug up the bastions near the clock tower, we all know about the Porta Santiago, and then we knew that the city was walled up. But when the real work happened to try and find the alignment of the wall, and then Datuk Zuraida Majid was then the Heritage Commissioner, they actually rebuilt a bastion, right? They did a lot of GPR work to try and figure out the alignment, alignment of the and then they did sampling, they dug up, and now we know in front of St. Francis Xavier's Church, they got one spot they've retained, the one Middleburg Bastion they rebuilt, and then they've got the Gallery Kota Melaka now that describes the whole city, the walled city, and so on and so forth, So, but based on Iridia's description of Melaka and the maps he had produced, we know that there are these old chapels around this area, right?
Yes. Because
we should try and locate those things for value.
Already of sorrows. Not so sure. The sorrow is let me see, Piedade or something. So exactly where is the location? We're not sure, but there is a chapel of the Assumption here. So maybe the place or the original chapel was maybe built somewhere around this area and renamed as the Assumption Chapel because of the historical story of why sugarcane is used in this particular chapel. So there's a lot of investigation, a lot of research to be done to kind of find out more about Praya Lane. So I think we'll start out with number one, Praya Lane, because I feel this building really has got for me a lot of I would say a lot of importance to at least find out more about this building. And then our plans for this building, if we can, like I say, get the permission and the cooperation of the house owner, obviously we want to try and preserve this building, because I think it's got a lot of historical heritage value.
And it just happens to be number one.
And exactly, number one. And the house that Bernard Santa Maria lived, the house that he died in, and I'm sure his spirit is still roaming, in this house and in the vicinity. Because for me, like I say, I'm here is partly because of him, my exposure to his work, to his idea, to his ideals. That's why I'm here.
He's a pioneering community leader.
Oh yes,
He's a pioneering community leader.
Like I say,
wrote his book
on
the community. And that became the first book that I think contained a lot of facts.
Yes,
he had done a lot of research, contained a lot of facts about My People, My Country was the book.
Sadly,
and went too early, but that's the work that we draw back on.
Went too early, like what Paramita said. He was a shooting star. He came, he made his streak. He just had his imprint done, and he's gone. But the imprint is still there. His works, his memory, his ideas are still there. And I did work quite many years with him, and I have more or less his ideas that I have learned from him. So it's basically to start up what I've learned, and that is, like I say, actually very important, is to try our best to preserve the culture and heritage of the community in terms of its language, in terms of its cultural practices, in terms of its festival and community as a whole. Because if we don't do that, go down the road 20 or 30 years, our children will even forget to speak the language. They will even forget the significance of their festival, why they are celebrating Assumption Feast and sugarcane and all that. So I think that is actually one of my main mission, is to try to get these things going. Because eventually I say, I had a mother just telling me yesterday, I want to learn the language. I want my children to learn, but I don't know how to go about it. Whatever I have is all like, it's just for a while and it dies off. So, but for us, we want to try and make it something that is not just a day or two, or a week or two, or a year or two, and it ends. Ours, we try and do our best to make it something continuous, something to get it, maybe I say even kind of off, online learning. So that is actually what we plan to do. So we will start our language classes next Saturday, and our method will be conversational Kristang. So we'll use the Dictionary of Patrick de Silva to start our classes. So we take the first word as in abana, okay, get to know what is abana, and then the noun version, obviously that is abana, and the act of using the abana, that is abana. Okay, so we're trying to do that method of teaching, which I think will be a bit more interesting. And then at the same time, we get a heritage. We get a native speaker like Alfonso de Silva to interject and give a bit of his idea, and we make a very fun way of learning. And then hopefully, like I say, eventually we can do it online, and at least 2 or 3 times a week.
To keep at this. Individuals that are passionate, who know enough of the history, who are at a certain age now where they feel they feel sorry to see things eroding away. They feel very compelled to try to bring back the past, some of it, but the maintenance and retaining the culture, the religion, and the practices that come with it, the religious practices linked to traditions, the language, and then the people, and of course the culinary delights, all one package.
Obviously, yes.
That made Melaka so important.
Correct.
See, the Portuguese writer Tom Pires, when he wrote his book Soma Oriental, at one point he said 84 languages were spoken in Melaka. 84 languages spoken in Melaka.
Yep.
So the erosion of this language spoken by the Melaka Portuguese people must never happen, because this was part and parcel of that diversity, linguistic diversity that came with the people, for the Arabs, the Sindhis, the Gujaratis, the Chinese, all kinds of people came and they made home here, right? They made home here. And that's that unique diversity that Melaka has. So any small part of it must not erode. Every small part of it must be retained, whether it's the Chiti Melaka or the Baba Nyonyas or the Melaka Portuguese. So we need to continue to keep things, retain things, and then develop it so that more people come to know about what is the dire situation right now, but what we hope it will be in the future.
Correct.
We want to build a future where none of what we have today will be lost. I think that's the aim.
Yes. So, Cultural Arts and Heritage Society, which is addressed here, and then hopefully, like what you just said, we want to try to invite as many people that are passionate about preserving their culture and heritage. And at the same time, the society's aim is actually to try and see how we can celebrate all these festivals that we have been celebrating, some religious, some social, and also I think the latest was to try to make a day where we can celebrate inter-religious, create an interfaith or inter-religious festival involving the Chinese temple out there, which is a few hundred years old, the Masjid Anwar just along Bandar Hilir, and also the Assumption Church. So we're trying to see if to find a day where we can have maybe a day where we can celebrate all these places of worship and make it like a harmony, inter-religious celebration. So actually we are already in the process of discussing. A friend of mine from the temple is already told me, Martin, we can discuss this at least for next year, 2024. So like I say, hopefully with the society now spearheading all this kind of rejuvenation, revitalizing the Praya Lane area, hopefully we can achieve something at least within this year or so. So actually now I want to show you something that's quite there. It is not the front, This is still the back staircase of the house. So I don't know the front, when Bernard occupied his house, whether he changed the staircase in front, because I feel strongly that style is the style of that era. So this is interesting. Is this typical? It's like a typical Roma Melaka design. It's not shaped.
You will usually open up like that.
Usually the Melaka
open up, not so straight.
Yes, not so straight.
The other thing is, it could have been a stairs coming down to a backyard.
Possible.
This was all extension.
This is definitely extension.
This was just a stairs coming down to a sandy backyard.
Correct. And then this actually
is Dutch brick.
Exactly. So this is a Dutch brick. So that means that this staircase is definitely old. Could have been an original structure.
Dutch style the bricks. Because this was made much later during British times. But the style is of Dutch style, flat.
Yes. In fact, there is some bricks that I want to show you later across to show you the original Dutch brick that came in. Was that fine? So this is something
Very interesting.
this part very interesting. The inside is okay,
So
nothing
this
much.
would have been a backyard.
This could have been, like you say,
Yeah,
a stair,
yeah.
the backyard,
Backyard, yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
Now the sad thing is this is all new. This facade is definitely new. New, even maybe this is also new. So maybe there was, I don't know, I'm just guessing, that there was actually an entrance here, this way. So whether it was like that kind of staircase, no, I'm not very sure. But I feel this is definitely new, the way he did it, because maybe it was a trending pattern. Definitely this is new. But if you see from down, what do you call this, still supporting pillars. So if you look at it, it's still that one main beam supporting the building. This is all new. All new.
It may have had a different frontage,
Different frontage.
quite likely a different frontage,
Yes.
and I'll tell you why. You would have had a wooden stairs coming down, as is typical of so many houses inside here.
Wooden.
Wooden stairs coming down with a rail, like that, and then the post, it doesn't hit the ground. It's sitting on what? Here we go. 2 blocks of this, and they sit so it doesn't touch the ground. This would have been the original. In typical wooden stairs, this would have been, they kept the 2 pieces here. Yeah. So this would have been the original stairs coming down.
That one was with the plywood.
Yeah.
This one no. So, but it was restored this way instead. See, same thing. They put the what do you call this?
Yeah.
So
This
actually,
wall is
what?
quite bad. Also. Number 1 Praya Lane. I mean the numbering, it just happened to be so nice. The first numbered house on Praya Lane, Lorong Praya. To go for heritage status, like I said, there is actually conditions. So you must meet certain age, which is why if you go to
Criteria.
the local office, then office you can get the drawings and the plans. When were these buildings built? It will give you an idea, because that's number 1. Number 2, if the original building has got so much additions in the last few decades, it's already
It loses
remove
its
some of the heritage value.
It
Yes.
loses authenticity.
Yes,
lah.
yes.
Okay.
So you may decide not to pursue that heritage building thing, but
So
rather to say that this is a building of a man. There was a Portuguese community leader, Bernard Santa Maria. It has become the Bernard Santa Maria Memorial House or whatever it is. It also in the present time houses the society that you set up. And you can tell the story of the building once you know when the building came up, right, and all that kind of stuff. You can pinpoint to certain things that say this was actually a pre-war style, without worrying so much about heritage status. You can highlight so many aspects of the building that are
You'll be more free.
proved to be, yes, and then you're a bit freer to tear this down if you don't like it, or
Correct.
refurbish it, or whatever it is.
You're not constrained
Yeah,
by
yeah.
the heritage
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
Okay.
And the building is not so, and the idea is that it is not just the building that's going to make the day. It is Praya Lane and the community
Yes.
that's going to make the day.
Definitely.
This building is just one part of it,
Correct,
you know.
correct.
The greater part is the story of Praya Lane, the people who live here,
Yes.
the Catholic community, and then intermingling with all kinds of people. We've
Yes,
got
that's-
Indians, we've got
yes.
Chinese.
That's a very important
The
aspect.
Chinese
yes.
shopkeeper Imun who speaks
Yep,
fluent
Imun.
Portuguese.
We have a Malay.
And the Malay people.
family,
So that cultural diversity that Melaka enjoyed a long time ago,
Mm.
as written by Tom Puresh, actually, if you go to anywhere in these kind of small places,
Yes.
you see people mingling so freely.
spontaneously.
It's so natural
Yes,
because
natural.
They don't know anything else. They know that this is how we live. We've lived like this before, and what's the harm in continuing to live in harmony, right? And no one plays up any issue, right? It's just so natural for
We celebrate each other's festival.
people on the ground to live
They
together.
come to our house for Christmas. We go to their house for Chinese New Year. Likewise, we go to the Malay house who are our friends. We go there for Hari Raya, and vice versa. So I think that cultural diversity is something also that has got a very strong presence here in
It is,
Thailand.
and it should be. We should make that one of the highlights. You know?
Oh, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. That is
So-
why we are, like I say, planning to have that celebration of the 3 religious houses for 2024. Okay, now in terms of really maybe go to the right people or to the right agency to maybe ask for some funding. I mean, okay, in terms of barang warisan, okay, anything to do with, say, heritage restoration, corporate or anything. I mean, what's your advice like?
Usually, if you want to seek funds from either corporates or individuals, the first thing they want to know is, where's the money, how's the money going to be used, where is it going to go to, and And when the money is it used in a sustained way, you know? For example, if you refurbish this building and it costs you, say, 80,000 ringgit, and people donate because you say, we want to use it to refurbish the building. But 2 years later, the family says, we want the building back and we want to sell off the property. And so the donors don't get a sense of security, you know, that we're putting up. So one of the things you got to prove in your prospectus to raise the funds, you have to have a small prospectus, some photographs of the building, what it was, the story of what it was, the value of the man that lived here and his family, and what it is today, and what you want it to be in the future. That's your narrative, your story, and the security of it. You can say, I've got the letter where the family, a legal letter where the family says, the society can use this building, right? With our own arrangements, whether it's rental or whatever, for the next 20 years. Now, if I'm going to donate, I say, nothing is guaranteed in the future. But at least for 20 years, I don't mind giving you 10,000. At least we know for 20 years, this house is secured for your purposes. After 20 years, the world just changed, you know. Maybe you yourself want to move somewhere else, right? The society may feel we want to move somewhere else, you know, so on and so forth. So people need to have a little sense of tenure. How long will you be using this? So that when they give their money, they know that, like for example, if I'm going to donate to Save Tigers, I need to know, I can't say, can you guarantee me you will save tigers? But you may say, we are working hard to reduce poaching. And I can prove to you that poaching numbers are going down. And people say that's good enough. The rest, let nature take care. If tigers are going to breed, let nature take care of them, you know. So you need to have a prospectus that spells out the history of the place, the current state, not to say overly dilapidated, your plans to refurbish it, and the plans to use it for the base for the society to build the Praya Lane community, what it was, and all the things we talked about in a prospectus and says, this is the one sheet costing of all the money we will need for all these purposes, and then you provide a ballpark figure, and you say, our target is to raise 80,000 in the next 1 year. And then people will donate freely because they know how the money is going to be used, and when it is used, how long will whatever it's been used for will be sustained. So you need a prospectus to sell. With a professional prospectus, you can actually sell it. You can, WhatsApp it. You can go to all kinds of people. People that may just want to give even 100 ringgit to someone who wants to give 1,000 ringgit, and someone who says, well, you know what, we like your idea. Here's 10,000 ringgit. And before you know it, you may get the money you need.
So okay, I mean.
Not difficult.
Yes.
Not difficult, but you must get the prospectus done correctly.
We walk here, but because they took away Kampung Tengah, they blocked this lane. This is a very, very, very nostalgic lane lah. Between Kampung Tengah and maybe Ice Cafe, or if you want to take the bus, we'll walk here. We'll not walk on the main road. The main road is go to the coffee shop, yes. But here is to come to the kampung or go to Ice Cafe.
A walkway,
Awat, potong babi one. He sleep here. If anybody you say about Awat, they know he sleeps here and he snores because he wakes up early in the morning to get slaughtered big, and then he's sleeping here the whole day. Beautiful gate, number 9 Praya Lane. So now that this one's brother is staying here, so you can be. Okay, this actually is open space. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, same pattern. This kind of awning, I presume, like how you find in Banhilu, is post-war. This is pre-war. 1, 2, 3, 4 heritage in that sense, because like I say, it's pre-war, and it's solid. The only real original of all is the one I made. It's practically bad condition inside. Ooh. Actually, I want to try and rent. Number one is the condition is so bad, cannot occupy. Sayang. I want to use this one as one of my bakery. Start a bakery here. My first choice was that house, but unfortunately that house not for rent or sale. So I was thinking of this.
Why is the condition bad inside?
The inside. Only of the 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that has got the original windows. You see? So, like I said, hopefully the owner, I think it's the owner also I know. I'm trying to contact them. And then if they can, don't... at that time,
with
yes.
these hinges on the top,
Correct.
and then later the sliding tinted glass is the next one.
You can see the stages.
This original, that's later.
Yes, yes.
And then that's very modern.
So when I took the students, NES students, they were quite impressed with the architectural remnants of Praya Lane because it shows pre-war building. It shows at least that Ice Cafe was formerly the site of the St. John the Baptist Church. You know, that was a few hundred years old, and they were quite impressed with these pre-war buildings. So in terms of architectural buildings, Praya Lane has still got more architectural buildings than Apun settlement.
Yeah.
Okay, this house is. I just want to do a brief video shoot for our documentation. This is our documentation. Sorry, maybe that people in. See, look at
Them close.
correct.
Wind still come in, but little kids cannot run out.
Correct.
Small babies cannot, toddlers
Correct.
cannot run out.
Correct.
But you can still have the wind flowing through.
You know that cowboy door that was usually separating the hall and the dining or the living. His father removed because the kids would always run through. So these kind of things are no more. But like I said, this house I try my best. So see if you can find a way. Because wooden maintain is difficult.
But because people are living in, so it's maintained.
Original.
Yeah.
Number two,
And-
I'm saying all these are original things that none of the houses have got. In Kampung, Portuguese don't have this anymore. You know, it's cement and the
Religious.
no, this one actually is painted on.
Yeah.
Still,
Cover up.
even you do the entertainment, but they find a way to come back. You picture the auntie. Oh, auntie. Again, I come and disturb you. Okay, today maybe got more people to talk.
Oh,
Last time.
behind there.
Your mother is.
Dorothy Santa Maria.
Oh.
I don't know whether maybe you
I
will
cannot
know him
remember.
if you see her.
Dorothy Santa Maria. My father was Sharma. Sharma.
Maybe.
Area
What-
kan?
I
what-
don't
what color?
Research. Take a seat, sir. In fact, I think the oldest, I cannot remember anybody older. There was one old gentleman, 100 years old. She's 101 or 102.
Always live here.
Huh?
Do you always live in this house or
Yes,
last time?
yes. So many years. Extend. As the children grew up, now all left the house and here. They come here, they bring them
Bernie Spang.
Oh, Bernie playing guitar.
physically now.
Dunstan Low. Gerard Low. Mother.
Like 10. 5 boys, 5 girls. 2 gone already. For the Pintado.
So, okay, I think Pombus means
Pigeon.
Bird.
pigeon, yes.
The
White
pigeons.
pigeon.
We say Pombus.
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 Pombos.
Oh, yes, huh?
Betul.
Pada Pintado. See,
Pada
the pigeons
Pintado.
lah.
this is a story for me. Pada Pintado give that name, huh?
Michael Singho will be with us today.
Yeah, lah, that's
Ah.
my son's
He'll be here.
son-in-law's brother.
So interesting, huh? Pombus was the name was given by Pada Pintado, huh? Wow. That one I must put in my gallery.
The Pintado or for the sending?
Maybe for the sending.
Maybe sending.
I think not because of sending.
Because father sending with Bernie very close.
I think for the sending.
Very close.
Because for the sending, so gave the name of the cantori, Senor Lima, and all that to the choir.
Wherever place in the church. So we had mass every day here.
But
Now no more.
Yeah,
Now
maybe it's
Now
don't
it's
have mass.
closed lah. You have to go in also and
No,
let's say a
please,
prayer, so cannot go in.
No,
In
because
case
it's
anything.
well known. You see.
You come back church anywhere, travel all over the world.
Yeah.
The doors open for you to go and
Yeah,
pray.
no, please.
We
Ah.
like we can have the church doors open. You just have to organize the situation, the wardens, somebody is scared.
Before Father Michael was here. Before
Father Moses Louis, lah.
Father Moses. Before all Eurasians
Oh,
a
what she
lot.
meant was
No more.
because you need to have some work done. You got to get outside people. You need to pay. Common people is hardly any.
Yeah.
Those days, you just sound,
mouth.
everybody comes.
Everybody
Because where there was a
comes, yeah.
strong
Yeah,
community
community.
here. And
Now
then
no
when we built
more.
the wall, it's
So these Portuguese people, so to help the Portuguese people, he's trying his best also, trying to help the Portuguese, but one or two only cannot. So the acts don't come and support.
But slowly, lah, we have to slowly.
Yeah,
There's
but
a lot of interest to bring up
But
the place.
no, even in Australia, the Eurasians, they migrated there, they keep together. Even the Penang one, they call themselves Eurasian, they don't speak one word of Portuguese. They don't know also.
Still quite united.
They call themselves Portuguese, but they are very active. I've been with them. I've seen how they work. So this
Singer.
pop.
Oh,
Ah,
Bob.
really? The late Pop.
Pop when died. When the house got burned down. You know who helped him a lot? The Portuguese mission in Australia. The Portuguese people helped with cash. They collected money. Half of the money for the building sheet they send down.
Correct. Really fundraising.
They all help each other. No, I felt so sad.
Here's the origin. Australia, all they left, your Perth.
And then they still stick together.
Yeah, because we take things for granted.
That's right.
That's why I try to
I
reorganize.
feel sad, you know, because Father Ashes, you know Father Ashes. He used to come to my house always. He used to say, what language do you speak to your children? I said Portuguese, but I don't speak the real Portuguese, the bahasa Portuguese from children. And your husband? I said, my husband speaks to them in English, but I in Portuguese. But they understand Portuguese, they reply in English. They're more English than Portuguese because the father don't speak English with the children. So say, never give up, speak Portuguese language. He says, try and get the people. Father Sandy was doing that. He had a class of children teaching the real solid Portuguese words. Michael Singo, yes. He still do that. Sometimes he asks me certain things. I say if I can remember. Because now we don't speak, we cannot remember. Suddenly if I remember, then I'll tell you. Outside,
Surambi and Surambi, there's two, right? One is Suram,
Veranda.
So from the word Surambi comes
The Malay word use Serambi.
upstairs solder. Upstairs. We're forgetting. But that is why I say conversational Kristang will like make you use the word. So the word abana, learn that word one whole week, just keep that word in your head, how to use that word. Okay, and then what is the meaning of that word, whether it's a noun, whether it's a verb, or there is maybe both. Abana as in the noun, the article itself, and abana as in the doing word. So from the word abana, you get the word abana. Okay, so use that word and try to create that sentence and keep repeating and try and use it and speak it to somebody. So that I think will retain.
But also because last time a lot of the architecture had certain features and words for them. For example, houses today have got no attic.
No.
So you never will learn the word or use the word attic anymore. Eventually, it's lost.
So that's why I say this particular house we never really had, but we had upstairs. We had the different parts of the house, Fugang, Solda, Surambi, and then maybe a veranda, all that we had. So this is why I want to make a model house. Because this and that house, two different houses. This is more original in that sense. That house maybe has got a bit more historical value or historical, should I say, origin. But this is one of the most closest to a Portuguese Eurasian
The
house.
original would have been until there.
Same like our Portuguese, it's two A huts.
When rain, you get caught.
You go to
the kitchen.
So see,
This all we did up.
I had to extend because the family was definitely.
But here you open this door, get some some breeze to come in.
Because of the,
Oh, Gandhi, thank you. We want to walk to the church, so we just walk to your kitchen, just do a bit of video there because this is for our records. They grow up very fast.
And
They grow up very fast.
This thing, the girl that helps me, my daughter pays that. I cannot afford. So at this, thank God, I said my daughter.
The big handle, fill up the bucket, carry up and down few times. Then only bathe, change and go to school.
Yeah, lovely.
Because the house all no pipe water, only the well. You have a well. But the well, when you wash the well, scrub, and then you drain the water out, then you let the new water come out. They say it's sweet water.
Yeah, clean.
Clean, so
We
nice.
put arang inside.
Absorb some of the whatever.
All the dust and all that, all separated out.
So I used to love to use this well water to bathe on that. So I visit the house. The well is still there. All the plants. And
The house, huh?
Oh, that hall there.
There was a hall.
No,
there
house.
was a house there.
You
And Fiona stayed there, what?
Antirki?
Fiona. And Gertie.
Oh,
You know
Gertie.
Gertie's mother.
Gertie's mother.
they
Okay.
stayed there.
Very important information. Okay.
Belongs to Aibatu.
Oh, they also Aibatu.
Aibatu's house. So they were renting that time from the Aibatu.
I can remember because that was where my wife's father lived when he was a Christian, but after Auntie Gertie's mother's house, huh? Okay, and then was
Not mother, they didn't buy, they were renting.
Oh, renting, okay. Oh, so the house was owned by Batu.
Batu.
I see. How long they lived there? Many years, huh?
I got married from there.
Married from there.
And by the side of that
Auntie
house
Gertie
in
and
Bangsa.
Auntie Gertie and you is what?
Cousin, first cousin.
There was a
My
bangsal
mother
where?
and my
There was a,
mother.
oh, sorry, there was a
sister.
bangsal where?
By the side.
Of the
we
church?
By the side of the church, we make bangsal wedding.
Oh, okay, correct. Those are all
I think I
bangsal.
got some
Okay.
photographs of
Until you
that.
try and see we can get.
I don't know
That's what we
where
are doing
it
for our 31st. That kind of bangsal we set up, people eat.
Not hardly used that way.
Okay.
It's clear. Nice clear water. Nice.
Like
Yeah, that's
natural
right,
light.
like, so I did, that's why my
Better.
granddaughter bought the big words.
natural light, you can see better. Come, we run along first.
Okay. The gentleman that ran this shop, his name was Imun. He spoke fluent Portuguese, and everybody that comes in and buys groceries will only speak Portuguese with him.
Cristão.
And that's it, Cristão. Speak Cristão. That's it. Nothing else. That's how well assimilated people were in this area.
He really served the community
he
well.
served the community well.
So it's 100% pre-war.
Yeah.
Pre-war and it's solid.
Both,
Both 1938. So this was built at the same time.
This for sale.
6 too high. Interesting about this number, what number? 30.
30.
Okay, the beautiful tiles at the front here. According to Colin Go, these tiles were brought in before the Japanese war. So these are Japanese imported tiles, according to Colin Go. So further investigation. Now, these same tiles you can find in the houses in Jonker Street and in some prestigious houses, and even on the gravesite, you have this kind of tiles. Okay, so quite interesting thing to feature later actually. And then quite original gates. Okay, plant all those
Under the
purple
church,
trees.
right?
No, church is one. Okay, so is the church multipurpose hall
Yeah.
where she was saying she got married and came up from this house, her cousin's house, Gertie's house. Okay, so this was a wooden house many years ago. Where are you? Where going? This church can be open for visitors. Hopefully, this is something that I really want to see how we can get this church open. So somebody
We should be
maybe.
welcoming, no? People
Yes,
can come in
exactly.
and pray. And,
I have so many
and
people
maybe
who
someone can
wants.
care for it just to look out to see, you know?
I have so many people who wants to visit, but so sad it cannot be open. They want to visit, they want to say some prayer. So I'm trying my best to arrange whether I can get this church open, like you say.
Yeah.
Get somebody here permanently to take care of this
Just care
place.
for it to be sure whoever
Okay.
comes in
Yes.
find a
And
clothes or
those who come will want to make a donation. So that donation can use to pay somebody to take care of this place. Okay, the
like a
rail
thick
bar
rail
basically
bar,
is to
right?
protect the wall because those days maybe had lorries or.
So you don't.
Yes, so they remove it when they did this restoration or this
You
renovation.
know, I remember the rail bar very well.
Oh yes.
Because we used to come
Sit
here,
down. We used to sit on the rail
sit like
bar.
this, and then there'll be the guitar will
We'll
take,
be playing and singing
singing
ourselves,
away, and
watching
people
the
will
girls
talk.
go by.
So that was the rail. We used to sit on the rail
The
here.
rail actually was this side,
This side.
two sides. It brings back real good fond memories. How we sit there, how we watch the girls go by.
Yeah, but these are all houses, huh?
Houses.
This whole thing was just
Okay.
a row of houses.
This was actually the house of the D'Souza family, the Rodriguez family, and the Madrigals. Okay, that was the house of one very old building. It was basically rented out many of the time. And prior to that was the house of Mr. Lau Kim Sua and Olga Preuss.
Yes. the
So
Forest house.
yeah, so that was actually a very renowned family that lived in Praya Lane. The Lau Kim Sua and his wife Olga Preuss. She was the organist for Praya Lane for many years. And
So
they
the church acquired this sometime already.
okay, the church acquired this during Father Moses Lee's time.
Father Moses Lewis.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
there
there
were
were
houses on
actually
that side.
three families that lived
Yeah.
here. Three families that lived here.
So they got the whole
Yes, so it's a very beautiful piece.
Yeah.
So actually this was supposed to be the site of the multipurpose hall, but because the number of members from the community dwindled, so they had no purpose
So this
to
is
build.
now mainly a car park for
Basically
when
it's just a car park,
heavy periods.
but it's just like a land bank lah.
land bank. Yeah.
So it's a car park.
And then we hear for the bell. Tong tong tong.
How many crab you mean? I can walk.
Tong tong. Then we all run in.
We used to catch my cousin put them in a box, put some stones, then make them walk around. Start digging to the shore.
Just here.
And this spot I say cannot miss. Why? Because we had the rock wall there. Okay, stand here. We had the rock wall here. And space where we have a beach.
Yes.
We have the beach where we put our boats. Okay, where we put our boats. And then when the sea was slowly eroding the seashore, we built the wall of friendship in 1975. That was actually the climax of that unity in the village. You had people from all walks of life, from all races, from all religious background coming to help. The ladies brought the mee goreng and they brought the tea while we were working. And Brother Santamana played a very big role also in this war. See, when we were short of rocks, he got the JKR through the government to bring rocks for us. When we were short of cement and sand, he spoke to some of his friends and we had cement and sand sent. So like I say, this wall of friendship was actually, I would say, the epitome of that unity, that diversity that we celebrated all these years in Praya.
It was built as a retaining wall because
A retaining
of
wall.
the sea.
The sea was slowly eroding the church compound, so it was like something we had to build, and we built it just before the reclamation reached here. The reclamation is 75, so reclamation was just far off, but the sea was still
Already
quite,
impact.
having a great impact on the sea wall. And then we had to build this wall before even they reached this area, the reclamation. So just to save the church compound. Now obviously earlier it was just a rock wall, and then we built a retaining wall in 1975.
And the statue of Mother Mary has a story to it, right?
Obviously, there's lots of miracle story.
That is the
Yes.
statue that has a
Yes.
interesting story.
I have a news article that was published, I'm not sure which source, but 1958. It states very clearly that villagers saw a lady and a child wading in the mud and catching mud skippers. that the lady and the child was wading in the mud and catching blodo. The word blodo is mentioned. Blodo. So okay, this was actually reported in one newspaper. So this miracle of Our Lady appearing in a human form, in fact, happened here at the seafront of Praya.
But it was a lady that no one knew. I mean, she
Okay.
was not someone they recognized or they knew.
Basically,
Yeah.
those who had the privilege, the honor of seeing her were non-Christians. It was either a Chinese fisherman, also could be a Malay resident.
So it was more than one sighting.
More than one sighting.
Oh, several times.
There was also a time when this Chinese fisherman found her in his boat before he set out fishing. I mean, obviously he was really in a state of shock. He thought it was a ghost. But she asked him one thing: "What do you wish in life?" And he responded, "Say he wished for a long life." And he lived to a ripe old age of 90 plus. And the whole family after that converted, and it's also reported in that article 1958. Okay, and then Mr. Gunn, the Gunn family became Christians in that article that was printed in 1958. And like I say, he was basically a fisherman. Now there's also stories of footsteps leading to the altar of Lady in the church. So okay, that footsteps leading to the altar of Lady. Okay, many people have seen that. Okay, another story is of the cloth seller. Cloth seller selling his cloth. Usually they will sell it to the local ladies. So on that particular day, when he sold a piece of cloth to a lady who promised to pay him on his way back. So being like I say, an old time cloth seller in the village, he trusted the lady. So okay, but on his way back, he couldn't find the lady. And then that particular evening, maybe there was a mass that was going to be celebrated. The church door was open, and he had a peek in the church, and he noticed the piece of cloth that he sold was under the feet of Our Lady. This particular statue of Our Lady of the Rosary. So from then on, his business flourished, and that story is being published. That this cloth seller had that experience of, even selling a piece of cloth to Our Lady.
So all this was in the 50s, around that time.
Okay, no, this one could have been maybe a bit, okay, could have been 50s, yes.
50s,
I think before I was born, definitely after the war. So that could have been maybe during my parents' time.
Yes.
But the sighting of this also was reported in 1958 newspaper, but the sightings were
It had been a bit earlier.
before the war. Before the war.
Right.
So it could have been in the early 30s, 40s. Because at that time, like I said, there was a vibrant community in Praya Lane, made up of fishermen, made up of people who were involved in a bit of agriculture, but basically fishermen. And the church actually earlier was facing the sea, originally. And then later it took its new position, not sure of which date, because I had to check whether it was 1901 or 1930s. It took a new position facing the land.
But there was I recall a story when I was young of the statue itself. It was found in the sea.
Okay,
Or
it was found by fishermen or at least one particular family floating in the sea.
That's what I recall.
Okay, and it was the property of that family. And I remember when I was here in Friday, this lady came from Singapore and said, my grandfather owned this statue, and she was a Santa Maria that lived in Bandar Hilir. So she said this statue was bequeathed to the church because they couldn't take care of the statue anymore because the family was moving to Singapore. So that lady was a Santa Maria lady. And I also discovered that their house was by the sea at Bandar Hilir, not far from the Moisnek's house. A gentleman showed me the exact spot of the house where the statue of Our Lady was put in Bandar Hilir. It's still there. So it was put at the side of the house. I'm not sure whether facing the sea or along the sea wall, but it was in that spot in Bandar Hilir. And the family was the Santa Maria family.
So it was recovered from the sea first, or it was at the house first and then
Yes, it was
belonged to the family first.
correct. It became a family
How
heirloom.
did it end up in the sea?
Oh, no. Okay. How did you say? Very, very interesting story. Okay. I presume it's this way. You see, during the Dutch takeover of Melaka, the Dutch basically confiscated all religious articles.
Correct.
They took away all the religious literature. They took as many as they could, all the artifacts and the statues. So at that time, the community was, I would say, well organized under the Imam's Digression.
Right.
The Imam had a big role in helping the community in terms of, shall I say, protecting,
Maintaining the faith.
maintaining the faith. Yes. So the story goes that most probably this particular statue was safely taken out and hid in one of the islands. So for many years it was maybe kept safely in the islands.
Yes.
And on one particular day, usually at the end of the year, there is this phenomenal annual high tide. So this statue, probably after a storm, was washed off.
Okay.
I mean, it's divine providence that the statue was not supposed to be on the island forever. It was supposed to be washed out, recovered.
It floated,
correct.
Yeah.
So it was a kind of it drifted out into the sea, taking the sea. So that's the story of how this statue came about.
Interesting.
Okay, thank you.